Welcome to this lecture, where you will learn how to use the Susy Stereotactic system from Inomed, created and read by me, Patrick Blomstedt, in collaboration with professors Joachim Kraus, Folke Köhnen, and Attila Yilmaz. After the original Richet-Mundinger system came the arc-centered Zamorano-Duchovny system, and Inomed has now, based on these, created a new and more advanced Susy system, combining the stability of the classical Richet-Mundinger frame with the versatility of the Zamorano-Duchovny arc application. It is thus an arc-centered system using Cartesian coordinates with a working radius of 190 mm, vernier scale, and integrated crosshairs. We will start with how to prepare and mount the ring on the head, then continue with stereotactic imaging, before we proceed with how to use and set the phantom, and then end with the arc itself, how to assemble it, set the coordinates, verify these, and mount it on the ring. So let's start with the head ring, which has kept its classical design and comes in two variants. The closed titanium ring is the most commonly used, and provides a stable option with high flexibility regarding mounting positions, while the open ceramic ring is mostly of interest for those performing intraoperative MRI with the frame. If you would like more information about the ceramic ring, then have a look at the presentation by Professor Yilmaz, since I will here focus on the titanium ring. The text on the ring is on its superior side. Thus, when holding the ring, you should see the text. The anterior aspect of the ring is marked with 0, that is in the direction of the patient's nose, when mounted in the standard fashion. On the side of the grade markings, you will find 4 pairs of holes. The 2 pairs on the sides are for the adaptations connecting the ring with the arc when used in the standard fashion. The pairs in the front and back can be used for the adaptations if you want a lateral approach. And all 4 pairs are used for the CT localizer. In the front of the frame, we have rather long marked areas. This is the areas within which you should place the anterior head fixing posts, if you are using the medium-sized fixing posts. And on the back, you have the same markings, but covering a shorter area, within which you should place the posterior fixing posts. The head fixing post comes in 4 different sizes: small, medium, large, and extra large, with somewhat different designs. But for standard procedures in adults, it is sufficient with a medium size with 3 holes. It is also worth noting that it is not mandatory to use head fixing posts of the same length for the front and back. The fixing post is fastened in the head fixing post carrier as seen here, and it is not possible to fasten it in an incorrect position. Note also that the carrier and fixing post can be sterilized as a unit, while there is no need to remove and reassemble these between procedures. So we put the head fixing post in the carrier as seen here. We introduce the screw and tighten it. As you see, you can rotate the fixing post somewhat to optimize the angle relative to the skull, and you can either lock the post now with the socket wrench and change later if necessary, or you can leave it movable and lock it later when you have optimized the angle while you are mounting it to the head. The carriers are then fastened to the ring, from the inside of the ring within the indicated area on the outside of the ring as seen here. The red markings on the carrier should not be outside of the black markers on the ring. When the medium fixing posts or the short are placed within these markers, they will not interfere with anything. However, this might become an issue if you are using the large or extra large fixation posts. Further, for experienced users, there is some room to go outside of these markers, but then you need a good understanding of when they will interfere, and I will not discuss that further here. And while you have no freedom in the back, you have some in the front, and if you have no preferences, just put it in the middle of the marking. So put the carrier on the ring from the inside, align the markings, and lock the screw. And then continue with the other posts. The ring can be mounted on a lying patient. Attach the ring clamp to the Mayfield adapter. Put the ring in the ring clamp and lock this. Note that this position of the ring clamp is convenient when mounting the frame in a standard position for DBS and such. However, during surgery, it might be preferable to rotate the ring clamp 180 degrees, and this is actually necessary if you intend to mount the arc in the lateral position. Then introduce the patient's head into the ring. And let your assistant support the head. The ring can also be mounted in a sitting position. And here, let your assistant support the ring in the position you decide. If you want to do it without an assistant, then the dedicated positioning aids in here will be very helpful. And it will also make it easier to get a very symmetrical placement. However, the ring can be fastened asymmetrically to allow for various approaches, especially in the posterior fossa. And the arc can be placed in 4 different positions on the ring, of which the lateral right is the standard placement. The arc can be turned 90 degrees in either direction to allow for a more lateral approach, which is especially of interest for SEEG. But we will in this presentation cover only the standard placement. And all the following information, including coordinates, will refer only to the right side mounting. When we are performing a standard procedure, it is best to standardize also the frame placement in order to avoid the risk for mistakes. Aim to place the screws in the middle hole in the fixation posts and change to the upper or lower hole if this is favorable. Aim to place the screws on a line about 3 cm above the eyebrows, passing about 2 cm above the tip of the ears. This will be roughly parallel to the line between the upper border of the tragus and the lateral canthus, which is roughly parallel to the ACPC line, and it might be helpful to mark this line for the alignment of the ring, and the line where you intend to place the screws. And remember to avoid the most slanting parts of the skull. Further, the most common functional targets are located within a few millimeters above or below the ACPC line, and this area should be between the level of the screws and the upper level of the ring, to avoid that artifacts from these are obscuring the target area on CT. So, place the frame as suggested, make sure that it is reasonably well centered and not pressing on any parts of the head, and especially keep the distance to the nose. And even if you place the ring below the level of the nose, you need to keep the distance so the nose is not protruding over the margin of the ring, in which case it will later interfere with the localizing box. When you are satisfied with the position, let your assistant keep it steady in that position. With the frame in the desired position, now enter a pen for all of the 4 screw holes and mark where you want to put the screws. Then introduce a measuring tool or just use your eye measurement and measure the distance from the outside of the fixing post to the skin and choose screws about 2 cm longer. Arrange the ring so that you have the same screws in the 2 posterior holes and the same screws in the 2 anterior holes, if possible. You can now administer the local anesthesia before or after you have removed the ring. In an asleep patient, it is easiest to put the screws in soon after the injection, while in an awake patient, it is better to remove the ring and prepare the screws while awaiting the effect of the local anesthesia. And remember that you can change the angle between the screw and the skull if this is not optimal. The screws are multiple use and come in 5 different sizes from 30 to 70 mm. They are advanced as much as you can using the fingers. Then switch to the blue torque wrench. Tighten 2 diagonally opposite screws at a time. It is not necessary to turn the same number of turns. It is better to turn as many turns as you can using a certain force. Change frequently between the pairs. In this manner, the ring will retain its position on the head. Tighten the screws as much as the torque wrench allows until the preset tension is reached, and the torque wrench will not turn the screws further. You are now done with the mounting of the frame. And we will continue with the imaging and how to use the phantom in the next part. Thank you for your attention.